I'm Ronak Azmi, and this is my video response to A Contract with God by Will Eisner. A Contract with God, 1978, is a monumental history changing work. It's widely credited with popularizing the term graphic novel, as it was the first graphic novel to be published by Will Eisner, and he is known as the father of graphic novels. And it provided the comics medium had serious, mature literary theme. So we in this uh, novel we see that a contract with God is not just one single story, but a collection of four interconnected short stories. Contract with God is the first one. Then we have the Street Singer. Third is the Supper, and fourth is the Cookling. All set in a single working class tenement building on Dropsy Avenue in the Bronx during the Great Depression. Eisner drew heavily on his own memories of growing up as a son of Jewish immigrants in the Bronx. So, growing up in a Jewish family had a huge impact on his writings. The book is a raw, unflinching look at the lives of ordinary people struggling with the massive gap between the American dream and the harsh reality of immigrant life. So, the key themes in this novel are: first, we have delusionment and broken faith. The title of the story, A Contract with God, is the core emotional piece inspired by the death of Eisner's own daughter. It features Frim Harsh, a devout Jew who literally writes a contract with God. When tragedy strikes, he feels betrayed and furiously rejects his faith, symbolizing the devastating loss of innocence and hope. Second, we have the weight of the tenement. The building itself is practically a character. It's a closed off, oppressive world where dreams go to die and people are constantly bumping into each other's misery, loneliness, and minor cruelties. Then we have sexuality, lust, and loneliness. The stories dive deep into the messy, often pathetic esca- sexual and intense loneliness of its residents, exploring desires that were simply not addressed in mainstream comics at that time. Then we talk about the visual style. So Eisner's style in this book completely breaks from his earlier lighter work. It is intensely dramatic and serves the emotional reality of the characters, not an escapist fantasy. Um, Melding text and image. So Eisner nearly eliminates traditional straight-edged comic panels. Instead, he uses the architecture of the tenement itself to frame the scenes. Windows, doorways, stairwells, and the very walls of the building act as a natural border, which makes the characters feel trapped within the environment. Um, the lettering and narrative captions are often integrated directly into the illustrations, blending the text and visuals seamlessly, creating a strong, uninterrupted flow of storytelling. Then we see the German expressionism and caricature. The artwork is done in high contrast, black and white, monochromatic. This is heavy use of deep, dark shadows that plunge the backgrounds into darkness, leaving only the characters and key details highlighted. So this technique dramatically emphasizes the mood, the paranoia, the claustrophobia, and the poverty. Eisner's characters are often caricatured. Their expressions and body language are exaggerated to an almost operatic degree. You see that they are despair, greed, and frustration laid bare on their faces. And this exaggeration is a powerful tool to communicate intense emotional drama without needing a single word. Talking about the symbolism, um, we have walls, rain, and the contract. So the tenement and Dropsy Avenue. So the building is the central symbol. It represents the melting pot of immigrant life, and that has curled into a confined, despairing ghetto. Its endless fire escapes in dark hallways symbolize the lack of escape and the constant, overwhelming presence of social pressure and poverty. Every character is defined by the building they live in. Second, we see the, like I said, the rain. So the rain often opens for close or closes the stories. It opens or either closes, especially the title story. The constant downpour and the resulting uh, resulting grimy streets symbolize the spiritual and physical cleansing that never comes. It is the oppressive outside world mirroring the emotional turmoil and tragedy happening inside the walls. The literal contract is the third symbolism. So, Frim Hirsch's contract with God is a very powerful symbol of the immigrant's transaction with the new world. He and many like him traded their old life, their home, and a piece of their identity for the promise of security and blessing in America. So, when the contract is brutally broken by death of his adopted daughter, it represents the failure of that ultimate covenant, whether with God or with the American dream, and the devastating realization that life can be random and unfair despite all faith and devotion. Contract with God is a masterclass in using visual language of comics to tell deeply human stories about the failure of faith and the quiet tragedies of everyday life, making it a foundation for all adult themed graphic novels that followed after this. It is a black and white, no color novel.